Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about one of my favorite topics in education as a teacher, classroom management. I've made a video about my updated philosophy about education as a whole, and this kind of corresponds to that. I've learned a lot through student teaching, and I've kind of changed my perspective on classroom management, which is why I've created this video. As I talk about my new approaches and strategies, I will be showing you some resources that you can access if you are interested for your own classroom. Before I get started, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. So, I've decided to change my plan on classroom management because I really want to have a responsive classroom that promotes classroom community, encourages good choices, and celebrates every win, big or small. I also want to promote a better engagement for students that builds relationships with them better and helps them to foster a love of learning throughout the classroom. So, in my future classroom and my classroom management plan, students will never be given a behavior tracking sheet because I believe that mistakes don't define who they are. By making it a teachable moment, you encourage a growth mindset out of it. And I personally believe that students who act out the most tend to have needs that are not being met underneath. I also know from personal experience that the last thing students and parents want is for their child to get or being on red or orange all day. um, and I know that students are capable of bouncing back because that's how we grow as humans. So I won't be doing Class Dojo and I won't be doing any sort of other behavior tracking thing like a clip chart or anything like that. Instead, I will be doing more than one classroom management system to kind of fit every student's individual needs. So restorative practices are why one of the reasons why I decided to change my classroom management plan as well. Restorative practices are a new concept in the classroom, but what it basically is a more productive and manageable way to promote positive behavior. The focus promotes a growth mindset when it comes to mistakes. It encourages goal setting and conflict resolution. Some practices that I will be doing in my classroom involves using I statements for when describing feelings, resolving conflict, using them in our class objectives and goals, in discussions and any activity, using classroom circles for morning meetings, discussions, and any social learning that we might do or kind of talk about together. And social learning can include things like talking about kindness and responsibility and things like that. Think sheets for behavior management and conflict resolution, encouraging student choice throughout activities, learning assignments, and even homework. And having restorative chats for conflict resolution or just one on one to kind of redirect students. So, for my classroom management plan, these are things that will appeal to students individually, and I will get to things that will promote classroom community as well. I do have a free classroom management plan if you're interested, and I'll link it down below for you, just to kind of get you started. And feel free to use my ideas as inspiration for yours. But the first one that I'm wanting to talk about is homework. Now, I'm not exactly a big fan of homework, basically because I believe that students should go home and spend time with their families. They only have a small amount of time during the day after school, especially on weekends. I definitely don't believe any homework on weekends, for especially for younger kids. If you give homework, I think it should be like no more than 10 to 15 minutes a day. And also because, you have the students with the whole day. I've seen some teachers where they'll review with students before they go home, like doing a little exit slip or something. But I really don't believe in sending home students with a packet of homework. I mean, I think that's just too much. Stresses out students, stresses out the parents. Big no no. So, I also believe that students should get like a little homework pass on their birthdays or like any special event As I said, no homework on Fridays is just a big must for me. So homework should be kind of light and one that the student enjoys. So maybe doing like a homework bingo for the month and letting students kind of pick out what they want to do is a great way to kind of promote, encourage students to do their homework. Bucket fillers is the next one. This is based on a book that I read about how to be a bucket filler versus a bucket dipper. And it's basically promoting good choices versus bad choices. So at the beginning of the year, we'll talk about how to be a bucket filler versus a bucket dipper. I'll make it a very teachable moment. Students will be in groups and they'll work with their teams to fill their buckets with points. And when they reach about 35 points or so, they get a class coupon, and we'll rotate groups often so that they'll get to know their students better and they can work with other teams to promote good choices. So, this is something that I found on Instagram and I kind of found a resource for it. But there will be a basket in my classroom where students can write out little shout outs to certain students to write them out to each other. Shout outs is basically where a student notices another student being a good student or promoting positivity or something like that. And at the end of the day, I will pass them out in their take home folders. This really encourages individuality and classroom community together. So throughout the day, I will prompt my students with reflections and kind of check in on them. I'll also provide built-in incentives like sitting wherever they want when reading a book. But at the end of the day, especially, we will discuss one end of the day reflection question. I found this resource on Teachers Pay Teachers. I believe it's free. But I will basically be putting mine on like some sticks and then putting them in like a bucket. But we will be talking about, how was our day? What did you learn today? Or just kind of make it a very teachable moment in a discussion. So, CHAMPS is a great way to kind of show students what is the expectation for a certain activity. And setting clear expectations is all good and fun, but it's useless if the students can't remember it. So, this is where CHAMPS comes into play, and it's also a clip chart that I will use in my classroom. But the C stands for conversation. So, voice levels, who will they be talking to? H is for help. Who should they ask for help? A is for activity, so what kind of activity will they be doing? M is for movement. When are they allowed after their seat, or when are they able to move around? P is for post activity, so what will they be doing after? And S can either stand for supplies, which is what materials they will be using, signal, when will they know it's over, or super students, which is like some student incentives. So I will be using a warning system in my classroom, but again, I won't be tracking any behavior or anything like that. And I really feel that student parents should be contacted. It's like the last resort because again, students kind of bounce back from things. And I have a lot of classroom management systems in place, so hopefully that won't happen. But if it does, there is space for it. So my warning system, and I'll link it down below for you. It has Bitmoji on it to kind of make it modern and fun. But level 0 is a warning, and it's just basically a verbal or written warning, kind of make it a teachable moment. Level 1 is mindful minute. So this is when they get to go to the Calm Center for about 2 minutes. They get to go to the Calm Center whenever needed for about 2 minutes when they're frustrated, just to promote general well being, but definitely when they're on level 1. Level 2 is make a better choice using a reflection thinking sheet that I will provide for them. Level 3 is basically giving them a logical consequence. Again, the goal is to teach, not to punish. And then level 4 is just a parental note that will be sent home. Again, it's a last resort, but I always leave it there just in case I might need it. But I will be able to work with the student regardless if I sent home a parent note with them. So Friday 5 4 3 2 1 is something that I actually created on my own. Every Friday, because there's no homework, there's no little exit slip or things like that, students will actually fill out this slip that will provide some feedback to me as their teacher. I don't believe that just as the teacher, I should be the one giving feedback. I also believe that students and even parents should be the one to give feedback too. So the 5 stands for 5 things that made them smile this week. 4 things that they learned about this week, 3 things that made learning fun this week, 2 things that they would like to work on next week, and 1 thing that me as their teacher I can improve on. So the last thing that I have before I get to classroom community is I wish my teacher knew. I got this an idea from an actual book I read called I Wish My Teacher Knew, and I will link it down below for you. But there's going to be a station somewhere in my classroom where students can pick a prompted note and tell me something privately. They can fold it up and place it in a very special mailbox I have hanging on the wall. And throughout the day, I will kind of read the notes that students send to me and, if necessary, discuss with them one on one about their needs and accommodations. I really want my students to feel heard and they can come to me for anything. I really want them to know that I will always be there for them if they need to tell me something important or something private. And I really believe that this will, in the long run, prevent escalating behavior. So classroom community, it's essential to build it. It allows students to take ownership for themselves and for their learning. It creates a positive, welcoming atmosphere in the classroom. I really want my classroom to have seating that rotates often, classroom responsibilities like jobs where students can apply for them, and this will rotate often too. And I really want students to become a part of parent teacher conferences where they get to show parents what they've been learning and all the work they've done, the progress that they've made, and to be kind of a part of the self evaluation and goal setting process. So I will also be promoting a class goals mystery award, and I saw this on Pinterest, and I will link this resource down below for you if you're interested. But basically, students will encourage each other to make good choices and complete class goals, such as completing homework, quiet transitions, everyone arrives on time or everyone arrives to school, etc. Each time they complete a goal, I just take down a card and eventually it will reveal a class mystery reward. Students will also get notes throughout the day as needed. So I have grow and glow notes, which are highlighting areas they need to progress in and celebrate a win. Teacher mail is great to send home to parents and students, really celebrates them in an area. Feedback tickets hold spaces for I love that, etc. And next time, remember to, etc. So, at the beginning of the year, in addition to talking about all the classroom procedures and whatnot, I really wanted to make it a fun, teachable, promoting classroom community moment. So, we'll talk about what it means to be a good student and a good teacher. We'll create anchor charts out of it. We'll read the book I Promise by LeBron James. And then we'll create a social contract where students promise how to be a good student while in the classroom. And I'll kind of put it somewhere in the room as well. And I will link that resource down below because every year may change, which is why it is completely edible. We'll also read our class as a family, and students will get to fill out a little banner and we'll put it on a bulletin board. And then they'll complete a bingo board about getting to know the rest of their peers. So at the end of the year, students and parents will get to evaluate me as the teacher so I can better prepare and reflect for next year using some templates that I'll link below. We will read Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss and A Letter from Your Teacher on the Last Day of School, just to kind of wrap things up. And I really believe that moving to a new grade is a big win, even in itself. That really matters, and I hope to inspire them. Students will get to write letters to the class of next year, kind of giving them tips and encouragement, which I will place on a new student's desk at the start of a new year. Really creates a fun classroom tradition, in my opinion. So, anything that I've mentioned, I will link below for you to grab and use in your classroom. Don't forget, I also have that free classroom management plan just for you to kind of get started, brainstorming ideas if you haven't already, that will work for you and your students. Don't forget to check out the free resources, especially down below. Thank you again so much for watching. See everyone again soon. Bye, guys.